Hi, my beauties. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. Firstly, I want to thank each one of you for pouring in so much love, such beautiful wishes on my pregnancy announcement video. I mean, you guys are all hot. It is super overwhelming to see such beautiful comments. Honestly, some of the comments made me teary-eyed as well because it's so amazing to be poured in with so much love, and I just cannot be thankful enough for each one of you. In fact, I feel really lucky to have each one of you in my life. So a lot of virtual hugs and a lot of love your way for each one of you, and thank you for being this way, guys. I cannot thank you enough for the love and support that you give me each and every day. In this video, it is a sort of a continuation of the pregnancy announcement. I thought, why not share my experience with the mothers to be, or just generally a life update of how the past year has been, because 2020 has been a rather eventful year in my life, and I want to update each one of you on what has been happening, how things have been, and just generally sharing my pregnancy journey so far, because trust me, COVID has given a lot of babies around the world, like we all know. And if you are on the way, on the journey, if you've just begun the pregnancy journey, or if you're in the middle, you're almost through, maybe you can relate to this video in many ways. So I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges that I faced for a pregnancy during the COVID times, because there were plenty, and how the journey overall has been. How is it different from being pregnant in normal times? Because there were a few things you definitely do tend to miss on, but I'm also going to tell you how to overcome those challenges, or at least how did I overcome those challenges. Now, I'm no expert in any way. I'm no gynecologist, I'm no medical expert. I'm just sharing my experience with you guys here. Now let's dive right into this video, but before you do that, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and you've also hit the notification bell. Do also follow me on my Instagram account, and now without further ado, let's dive right into it. Before diving into the video, a quick life update. So 2020, like I said, has been a very eventful year for me. It was definitely challenging, like it was for all of you. There were a lot of different things that were happening. COVID obviously made things a lot more difficult. But I'm the kind of person who likes to be grateful for everything that I have in my life, because I feel that's the way you keep yourself happy and motivated always. So 2020 was also the year when I made a complete shift from my corporate job and became a full-time content creator. So a lot of you who've been following me from my earlier days in content creation, you would know that I have been in the corporate world for more than a decade. And it was becoming very difficult to juggle both my job and also creating content for you guys. I did that for a year, and that was one of the toughest years in terms of work for me. It did take a lot in terms of time. I was almost working 16 to 17 hours a day, and I wasn't sleeping enough. But I decided to make the shift simply because how promising you guys have been to me, how dedicated you've been to me, how much love you've sent. So all of that motivated me to just concentrate on content creation, because I have a lot more to give to you guys when it comes to a lot of content that I have in mind, and you will see that in the coming videos. So that was a major change in my life, because I spent more than a decade in my job, in doing different jobs in different companies. But I'm very grateful for that journey. Also because it made me a lot more polished. I learned a lot of different skills, and just generally a lot of good life lessons. So I'm very grateful for that journey, and I'm very happy that I had that journey. So now I felt it was a time to kind of shift completely to content creation. And mid last year, I made that shift, and I can't be more excited and more thankful for this shift. And of course, very grateful. That's around the time when I also conceived my baby. And yeah, it was a good sort of a year in terms of making new beginnings in life. However, it wasn't easy, obviously, like it wasn't for a lot of us. So the journey so far has been, in terms of the content creation, so very beautiful, so very exciting, and there's so much more, like I said, that I have to give to you guys. So here I am, being a full-time content creator, and I really hope that you guys continue to support me with all your love and all the good wishes. With that said, now I'm going to talk about the challenges that I faced as being a pregnant person during COVID time. So, COVID pregnancies have been a trend in itself, and the world has been blessed with beautiful babies all around the world, but clearly it wasn't easy. And I'm pretty sure if you are a person who has conceived during these during COVID times, you will be able to relate to me that it wasn't easy in terms of the journey. But the entire idea of this video is what were the challenges that I faced. I've listed my top 5 challenges, and how did I overcome those challenges? Because let's be honest, life is all about challenges, right? But how we move forward, how we work around them, that's what human beings do, because we are very flexible beings. Now, the first and the foremost point that did affect me, and I think a lot of people around the world, whether or not you're on the pregnancy way, on the family way, was mental health. A lot of us did feel a lot of different mood swings, a lot of different phases during the last year, because let's be honest, there were a lot of lifestyle changes that one had to go through. But at the end of the day, we are human beings, we are very flexible, we can work around the situations given to us. So, to begin with, honestly, I was very grateful for this blessing, and I wanted to do everything in my power to kind of make this work and not stress. So, the reasons behind all the different stresses were A, if I were to go for a scan, I was always very paranoid that, I don't want to come in contact with anyone who could be a potential COVID carrier, and anyone who could be infected. So we were sanitizing everything around us. My husband and I were just taking extra precaution, wearing 2 masks instead of one. We used to take early morning appointments instead of evenings. So we try and work around it. But what we did feel was we were stressing a lot on this particular situation, because obviously we are first time parents and we don't know how the journey is as it is, and then the extra load of pandemic on us as to how to protect me and the baby and just keep ourselves safe. So, although we did face a lot of challenges, like I said, going for scans, going to doctor appointments, and simple things like just walking outside was quite a challenge. So, what I did was the first 3 months, because that was the peak of COVID, I did not step out of the house at all. I decided to work around it. The main thing that really stresses you out, I feel, is no contact. So you do have your very close ones that you live with, but I couldn't meet my parents for almost about 6 months. My doctor also was very, very particular, because like I said, it was the peak of COVID, and she asked us to take as many precautions as possible. Not being able to meet friends, we did everything virtually. I was talking to my parents virtually. I was talking to my friends virtually, but that does really stress you out, because you miss your family a lot, especially during this time when you want to be pampered, when you just want to be around your loved ones and you want to see them more and you want to share the excitement, the small little things that you do, the small little shopping that you do, you want to share with your loved ones. But again, like I said, grateful for the blessing itself. So you just work around it. We started doing more often the virtual calls. We would do weekly calls, then we would do bi-weekly calls. So even something like baby shower wasn't clearly how we had imagined or planned for ourselves. For example, my parents did come over. Only my parents, the rest of the family and friends were looking at us virtually for the cake cutting and whatever little humble baby shower that we had. My parents had to quarantine for 14 days before they actually met me, simply because, I was missing them so much. I wanted to see them. So, literally, after 6 to 7 months, I saw my parents. So, all of those things can really get to you. But I think the best way to work around these things is not to be paranoid. Have faith and pray every morning, just to give yourself that sort of a calmness and mental well-being, because at the end of the day, whatever affects you affects your baby as well. So very early on in the pregnancy, we decided, my husband and I, that we're going to take this calm and easy, because at the end of the day, this is also a special phase in our lives, and we don't want to look back and remember this as something which was a journey, which was a completely paranoid journey. And we wanted to look back at this as being happy. And yes, we were doing everything in our power to protect us, all of us in the house, but we decided to sort of calm down and not be paranoid. So that's one thing that I did learn early on, and I feel that was the main takeaway from me. The other thing that I started doing is creating a lot more different kind of content, keeping myself busy, and working a lot more, creating more content for Instagram, for YouTube. And I feel that, when you're more productive, you're more happier, and generally the stress level kind of goes down. So that's one takeaway that I feel is really important, that keeping your mental health in check, even if you're someone who is, not pregnant, but just a general individual who has seen that journey. If you're someone who's working from home, because I know it's really, really difficult for someone who goes to a job to actually work from home, because the environment is really different. So I feel just do things that make you happy, because you have to maintain a balance. You have to protect yourself, and you also have to keep yourself busy and happy. Moving on to this second challenge, and this is a little bit of a bigger challenge for me, particularly because all of us are different. And the challenge is not being able to exercise how I would have liked it to be. Now, I'm someone who's always exercised in my life, and during pregnancy, breathing fresh air, just walking outside, walking for 30 minutes every day, these are some really important things to maintain the agility of your body, to sort of prepare your body for birth. However, that was a little bit of a challenging situation, because I remember that was also the time when we went into a lockdown and then another lockdown again. So we were practically confined in the house itself. So what I started doing is I worked around it. I started walking in the house. So I would just take an area of the house, and I would just walk for 30 minutes around that area. The other thing that I started doing was I started doing yoga. So ideally, I would have liked an instructor, but I took a couple of sessions, virtual sessions, from a very good yoga instructor, and then I started doing those exercises. So I started slow, and once I was very confident, I started to do them on a more regular basis. And that I felt really, really brought in a lot of change. It just calmed me down so much. It releases your stress. I have always had breathing issues since the beginning of my pregnancy. So I used to get breathless very easily. A lot of you actually even noticed in my videos. And that is because, I wasn't breathing properly. So I started breathing exercises. I started to do the various different exercises that made me feel a lot more relaxed, a lot more agile, and also it keeps up the body's agility, and it makes you feel a lot more healthier and a lot more happier. So I feel yoga, for any one of you who started this journey, can be excellent, but definitely make sure that you're doing it under supervision, especially if you're someone who has never done yoga before. I have been someone who has done yoga in the past. I was aware of some of the poses, but still I took a few sessions virtually. My husband also knows yoga poses very well. He also helped me. So if you have this kind of a help, well enough. If you don't, I really highly recommend, please don't do it on your own, especially if you're pregnant. Definitely make sure you're doing it under some sort of a supervision. There are plenty other exercises that you can do, some light exercises. You obviously have to check with your doctor what those exercises are. But yes, I felt that exercising really calmed me down in many ways, and we couldn't go for walks downstairs in a park, or just walk around the house building, but just generally doing any sort of exercise really made me a lot more happier, and I think it just helped me release all the stress hormones. The third challenge that I faced, and this is not actually such a biggie, but it was for me, because I had actually planned to do this a certain way. This may sound crazy, but all of us, especially because it was our first pregnancy and we have been ever so excited from the beginning. Baby shopping and shopping for myself was something that we had to do online, of course. Now, India has clearly evolved immensely when it comes to e-commerce platforms. We have some incredible websites to shop from, and 90% of the things we shopped online. We do have some of the things to go. We really hope we can actually go physically and shop them. So yeah, that was a little bit of a bummer for me. Something I wanted to do a little bit differently, like some of the other things. But yeah, like I said, ever so grateful for this blessing. So we didn't mind making this kind of an adjustment. But some of the big things I feel that I would have liked to actually go and pick up, see the quality and everything, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be a very protective mother, because I'm always very particular about things. And even for myself, I like things in an order. So if you are a person like me who's very orderly, who likes to, plan things, who likes to bucket things, and you are someone like that, then yes, this thing also bothers you a little bit. However, I feel that there are some incredible website options. I can list some in the description box for you if you guys want to check out, where you can buy, mom clothes, you can buy baby clothes, because there are a huge amount of things you need when you're planning a child, right? So all of that we actually shopped online for. But yes, we did landed up figuring out different websites that we didn't know of, and started ordering from those websites. And eventually, I feel we landed up collecting pretty good stuff for the baby to come. The fourth challenge that I did face, and this is something which honestly, again, is no biggie, and one should be able to work around it, was not being able to eat out. So, the first 6 months, almost 5 to 6 months, I did not eat out at all, because obviously we were being cautious, and my doctor asked us to be cautious as well, and watch out from where we are ordering and all of those things. So I ate home cooked food. To be honest with you, a part of me is really happy, because I ate very nourishing food for the baby. I did not eat any sort of junk or street food. Now, all of us Indians, we love street food, right? So do I. And I did not eat any street food. I think none of us could, simply because I personally felt that I wanted to stay away and did not want to eat out in terms of how the food is being prepared, etc. But yeah, that's one thing I did miss on, not majorly, but yes, sometimes I would feel that I, need to have something different, something more spicy, or something which is not cooked at home, because after a while it tends to become a little bit boring. Also, pregnancy gives you its own cravings. I am someone who likes to eat really, really clean, and I like to stay fit. I like to eat a good home cooked meals, but definitely like to indulge and go on with my pizzas and burgers sometimes. And with a little bit of pregnancy cravings that I had, some of them, we could prepare at home, but yeah, some of them we couldn't. So that is one thing that I felt one does miss on. But then, hey, YouTube is there, right? There are all sort of recipes available. So we started to work around it and started to make things that we never would have imagined cooking at home, and we started preparing them at home as well. So yeah, if you are someone who's also on the journey and you are looking for some spicy food to be cooked at home, YouTube is your answer. There are some incredible recipes out there. If you crave for something, then go ahead, and you never know, you will stumble upon a recipe and something, explore something that you'd never done. So for me, I'm not someone who spent a lot of time in kitchen, but I did land up spending a lot of time in kitchen during COVID times, and I'm really glad, because I did learn a couple of different things to cook for myself. The fifth and the last thing that I personally did miss on quite a lot, and obviously, this is again not a biggie, these are not necessities, one can definitely live without these. But something I would have loved to do is traveling a little bit. So, I am someone who, because of my job or just personal interest of traveling, has traveled so much in my life in the past couple of years specifically. And in the past almost 1.5 years, it has almost been like no travel at all. So we'd love to go, out before the baby actually arrives or something like that. But clearly that wasn't possible because traveling, of course, couldn't have been any safer, and we were taking so many precautions. So if you are someone who's an avid traveler, or if you are someone who loves traveling and wanted to in your second trimester, maybe this is something that you would be missing on. But definitely don't mind it, and just put it on your to-do list on the things where you want to go, because definitely the baby comes first, and your health and the baby's health is always priority. But definitely something that I did miss on and would have wished to travel a little bit if I could. So, just summing up the journey, I feel it has been an amazing one at that. It is definitely going to be a pregnancy to remember for a lifetime. Also, for us to kind of share stories with our baby as to how the pandemic pregnancy was. And one important thing that I do want to mention for anyone, in fact, if you're an expecting mother or just generally anyone, during these times in COVID, one thing that I did learn is take one day at a time. Don't plan for something that is going to happen a couple of months down the line. Just be very grateful for good health, for a roof on your head, for just generally whatever you have in life. It can be little or more, it doesn't really matter. As far as you have your loved ones with you, as far as you have the love and support of the people you care for, that's all that really matters. And that is what is going to make you sail through any roller coaster of life for that matter, and any journey of life for that matter. With that, it's a wrap, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video and were able to relate to this video. Let me know in the comments section if there are any particular pregnancy related content that you'd like to see. I'd be more than happy to film it for you guys. If you did like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and also hit the notification bell. And until I see you next, guys, thank you so much for watching. Love you all. Bye bye.